Thank you very much. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. Most powerful people in the world. My book. But thank you, Paula, the beautiful prayer. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for this incredible crowd. There are thousands of people outside trying to get in. And if you're truly religious, you should give up your seat right now. Let them come. But I'm thrilled to be here in Miami, Florida, to officially launch one of the most important grassroots movements in American history. It's a first. Evangelicals for Trump. And you know how we did a few years ago. Hard to believe. Already we're talking about, it's almost 3 years, but you know how we did. The numbers were phenomenal, and the love is greater today, I think, than it has ever been. I'd like to begin my remarks today by extending our profound thanks and gratitude to the extraordinary men and women of the United States military, right? They're by far the best and greatest anywhere in the world. There's nobody close. In recent weeks, American warriors executed a daring raid that killed the savage leader of ISIS, al-Baghdadi. He was a depraved butcher who will never again hurt another innocent person. Last night, at my direction, the United States military executed a flawless strike that terminated the terrorist ringleader responsible for gravely wounding and murdering thousands and thousands of people and hundreds at least of Americans. Qasem Soleimani has been killed, and his bloody rampage is now forever gone. He was plotting attacks against Americans, but now we've ensured that his atrocities have been stopped for good. They are stopped for good. I don't know if you know what was happening, but he was planning a very major attack, and we got him. We are a peace-loving nation, and my administration remains firmly committed to establishing peace and harmony among the nations in the world. We do not seek war. We do not seek nation building. We do not seek regime change. But as president, I will never hesitate to defend the safety of the American people, you. So let this be a warning to terrorists. If you value your own life, you will not threaten the lives of our citizens. Americans have many blessings, but perhaps the greatest among them is the blessing of being protected by the most exceptional and virtuous military on the face of God's earth. This evening, we're delighted to be joined by many incredible faith leaders, including just a terrific man that I've gotten to know, and his wife, I don't know, I think she might even be better than him. James and Shirley Dobson. Where are you, James? Where are you, James? Thank you, James. Got to know each other well. A friend of mine who was on television before I knew him, and he kept saying, you know, he might not know the Bible as well as I do, or frankly, as well as a lot of people, but he's a leader, and he loves God, and he's a great Christian. And he said, and I love him, and I want him to do a terrific job. And I think, hopefully, I've more than exceeded expectations. Robert Jeffress, right? Thank you, Robert. I hope I have. Sissy Graham Lynch, when you talk about a great family, that's a great family. The granddaughter of Billy Graham and the daughter of Franklin. And I appreciate everything that Franklin's done over the last 2 weeks. Right? He fought very hard for us, and it's a special woman, and it's a special family. Thank you very much, Sissy. Michael Tate. Everybody knows Michael Tate. Thank you, Michael. Great job. Jensen Franklin. Thank you, Jensen. Great. Alveda King. Jack Graham. Jack Graham. Thank you. Thank you, Jack. And Miami's own, a man that everybody knows. I think they might know him better than they know me. Is that possible? Yeah. Alberto Delgado. Alberto. Thank you. I'd especially like to thank Apostle Maldonado. Apostle Maldonado. What a great guy. What a great guy. What crowds. I think I'm going to come to a Sunday service one of these days. Is that right? Oh, we'll have a lot of fun. But I want to thank you very much for welcoming us here to El Rey Jesus Church, the largest Hispanic congregation in the United States of America. Fantastic. And as you all know from those unemployment numbers, the best in the history of our country. The best. We'll go over that very soon. We're delighted to be with more than 5,000 Christians, including so many extraordinary Hispanic and African American faith leaders who are lifting our nation to incredible new heights. Things are happening like they've never happened before. There is no better place to begin the new year than right here with so many friends and families, pastors and patriots who believe in the power of prayer, the majesty of creation, and the love and grace of Jesus Christ. Thank you. In 2016, evangelicals, Christians helped us, and they went out. Evangelical Christians went out, and they worked so hard, and they produced numbers like they've never produced before. And based on what Paula told me, and Sissy told me, and everybody told me, we're going to blow those numbers away in 2020. We're going to blow them away. Hi, Charlie. Charlie Kirk. Hi, Charlie. He could be a pastor. He'd be a very good pastor, I'll tell you. Every day since, I've been fighting for you, and we really have. We've achieved results that nobody thought was possible because things were looking very bleak for a long period of time. Things were looking very bleak. Even a thing like Merry Christmas. Remember, I used to go around in the summer. I'd say, we're going to say Christmas again. We're going to say Christmas again. And now they're all saying Merry Christmas again, right? They're all saying it. You'd go to these big department stores 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and they'd have the snow, and they'd have the red and the white, and they'd have everything. But they wouldn't say Christmas. I said, where's Merry Christmas? And they said, we can't say it. They're all saying it again. They're saying it proudly. Evangelicals, Christians of every denomination, and believers of every faith have never had a greater champion, not even close, in the White House than you have right now. I think you know that. And I'm not saying that in any other way other than just look at the record, because we've done things that nobody thought was possible. Together, we're not only defending our constitutional rights, we're also defending religion itself, which is under siege. But we're winning. But we can't let one of our radical left friends come in here, because everything we've done will be gone in short order. They can take it away pretty quickly. It's a powerful position. A society without religion cannot prosper. A nation without faith cannot endure, because justice, goodness, and peace cannot prevail without the glory of Almighty God. You know that very well. You know that very well. For America to thrive in the 21st century, we must renew faith and family as the center of American life. There are those who say these sacred beliefs are outdated, but we know they are just the opposite. Our traditions and our values are timeless and immortal. They don't know what they're missing, right? They don't know what they're missing. Our faith is needed now more than ever. While certain fads come and go, it's an eternal truth that faith and family lead to the stability, happiness, and prosperity of nations. Yet as we speak, every Democrat candidate running for president is trying to punish religious believers and silence our churches and our pastors. Well, we can smile because we're winning by so much. We can smile. I wouldn't worry. I'll let you know if there's a problem. I'll let you know. I may come back and say, get out there and vote, every single one of you, but I'm going to say that anyway, all right? Our opponents want to shut out God from the public square so they can impose their extreme, anti-religious, and socialist agenda on America. I've been watching these debates. By the way, how boring are those debates? Are they boring? You know, I sort of feel it's my obligation, it's my job. I got to watch. I can't do it. I can't get through. I did it once, the first one, and I said, I can't believe this is happening to our country. I mean, we had this guy Beto. Remember Beto? So he comes from Texas, and he was supposed to be a good. Remember, he said, I was put on earth to do this. To do what? To run for president? He got out at 0. But you remember when Beto, and I'm attacking him only because he's gonzo, but you remember when Beto essentially said he's against religion, against guns, right, and against oil. And he comes from Texas. Abraham Lincoln cannot win in Texas with those 3 things. No Bible, no guns, no oil. I come from the state of Texas. I don't think so. But he's gone. Can I tell you? But you have worse. You have worse. You have some of these people, and in a quiet way, they're worse. And they're a lot worse for religion. That's true. Pocahontas, you're right. You with that red hat. There's a lot of people with a red hat on, come to think. Look at all those people. You're right. This election is about the survival of our nation. With your help, your prayers, and your tireless effort to mobilize Christian communities across our land, on November 3rd, 2020, that's the date, November 3rd, we're going to win another monumental victory for faith and family, God and country, flag and freedom. We're going to defeat the radical Washington Democrats, and we are going to take back the House. We're going to hold the Senate, and of course, we're going to keep the White House. And if we take back the House, and you see how crazy these people are crazy. There's no crime. There's no nothing. I said, read the transcripts. They don't want to read them. Totally partisan, never happened. Anything like this, they couldn't beat you, so they voted against you. Think of it, how bad it is, how sick it is. It wasn't supposed to be that way. And we didn't lose one Republican vote. In fact, we gained 3 Democrats, and one of them left the party and became a Republican. Never happened before. 196-0. Have you ever heard of that? The Republicans are fighting tough. It's good. And the Senate, same thing's going to happen, I hope. I feel very certain. It's going to happen in the Senate. We have great, great support. But we have support because we really are. We're on the side of right. This is a hoax. This is a terrible hoax perpetrated on our country like no hoax ever. I used to call it the witch hunt, but it is. It was a witch hunt from the day I came down the escalator with our great First Lady, from that day. And there are those that say even before that day. I happen to be one of them. Before my election, religious believers were under assault like never before. You all know that. So many leaders here. Faith-based schools, charities, hospitals, adoption agencies, business owners, and pastors were systematically targeted by federal bureaucrats and ordered to abandon their religious beliefs or stop serving their communities. You know all about that. But the day I took office, I got sworn in. The federal government's war on religion came to a very abrupt end. My administration has taken decisive action and historic action to protect religious liberty. Just as I promised in the campaign, we have stopped the Johnson Amendment, where they're trying to take away your tax-exempt status and liberated our partners by getting rid of this horrible Johnson Amendment. I could tell you a brief story, but only if you want me to, should I? So I'm in Trump Tower, I'm running. Everybody said, yeah, he's doing really well, but he's never done this before, so he can't do it. You know, never done it before. It's true. A senator came up to me and said, sir, I've been in 9 races. I won 7 of them, sir. I said, I know. I've been in 1 and I won 1, you know, so we have to win 2 because it has to seed, right? But I'm in the office, and I'm with probably 50 faith leaders. Paula was there. Some of the folks here were there. That's right. And I knew they liked me, and I liked them. We were an hour and a half, and we're on the 68th floor. We're looking down, and I said, okay, let's talk Turkey. I'd like your endorsement. And they looked around, and there was great love, but they looked around, they said, we can't do that. I was shocked. You know, normally you know when somebody likes you, right? You know, and you know when somebody doesn't like you. I know about that too. But we had a great feeling in there. And I said, what's the problem? They said, well, we can't do that because we have the Johnson Amendment. And if we go political, if we endorse somebody, or if we even speak strongly, and you're the people I want to hear from, there aren't many, but you're the people I and all of these folks, we want to hear from you. If we go and start telling people what we would recommend them to do, they take away our tax-exempt status, and our churches, in many cases, go out of business. It's so harsh. I said, you got to be kidding. I never heard of that. But I thought about it, and I actually looked out the window, and I saw many people down on Fifth Avenue, and they look like ants. There's so many of them, but they're so small when you're high. They look like ants. It looked like an ant colony. So I said, that means that any person down there has more power and more to say, even to the public, than you do in a certain way, and they're not necessarily the people I want to hear from. I have to think about this. And we had a second meeting 2 months later, same place, same people, even more. And I said, you know, I understand the problem you have. You can't speak up, but we're going to get rid of the Johnson Amendment, and we did. It's no longer effective, and we're going to put it through and make it permanent, too. So after a certain period of time, whether it's 16 years or 20 years or 24, you know, we want to drive them. Boy, that's a lot of press back there. It's like the Academy Awards used to be, right? Before it failed. Before they started speaking badly of us and everybody turned off the television. Wow. Now, I do that only because, you know, they had, you've heard this before, but they have this wacky guy on television, and he was doing an interview. Big show. And he looked at the person he was interviewing, and they said, you know he's going to win, don't you? You know he's going to win. He was horrified. I mean, he doesn't like low taxes, strong military, great borders, no sanctuary cities, great education. I don't know what they like. I know what they like. Open borders, crime. So what happens, he said, you know he's going to win, right? No, we're going to fight him hard. We're going to fight him hard. This is the other side. No, he's going to win. There's nothing you can do about it. He's going to win. And after 4 years, he's not leaving. You know that, right? He's staying. And then he's staying longer. And I thought he was joking, but he was very serious. So I like to say, but I'm only kidding back there. I say 12 years, 16 years, 20 years. It drives them crazy, but they drive us a little crazy, so we're even. Very dishonest people, but maybe they'll be more honest in this great church. Do you think, Pastor, do you think they'll be a little bit more honest in this church? Maybe we'll get a good shake from the media, but I doubt it. Think of it. We've done this without the media. So we had one party totally against us, and their partner is the fake news, right? And we won. But we have great people. Rush just signed another 4-year contract. He just wants 4 more years, okay? Rush, Sean Hannity, Laura. A lot of great people. Tucker's been great. Fox and Friends, right? Ainsley, Steve, Brian's come a long way, right? Come a long way, Brian. I told him the other day, you've gotten you're right up there. Now, we have great support, but we have tremendous views, and so much of it is dishonest on the other side. But we're plowing through it. And I really do believe we have God on our side. I believe that. We're protecting, or there would have been no way we could have won, right? People said, how do you win? You don't have the media. You have so many things against you, and we win. So there has to be something. And 2016, I've often said there's never been, and there really hasn't been. They don't question me. You know, if you're a little tiny bit off, they have headlines, Trump lied. They said, I don't think I lied. And believe me, most of this I could argue with them, but just a little, they never argue with me. This was truly one of the great, maybe the great election of not our times, of all times. Now, it's like a tree. You plant that tree, and it needs some time. Some of the things we've done, whether it's economic, whether it's for religious liberty, so many different elements, it needs time. You can't just boom, because if it has more time, they're never going to be able to take it away from us. They will never, ever be able to take it away. So we need that extra 4 years. So I don't know. I can't compare anything to 2016, but I'm going to say I think 2020 may be just as important. We got to get out and vote. Thank you very much. Now we're doing good. We're protecting the conscience and the rights of doctors and nurses, teachers, and groups like Little Sisters of the Poor who have been so badly treated. We're on their side. We're preserving faith-based adoption that they want to end. It's not going to happen. We've confirmed 187 unbelievably talented, brilliant, young judges. They'll be there for 40 years, some of them, more. And age is a big thing. You know, I have a friend who's a great lawyer in New York. He said, President, he never calls me, you know, I lost all my friends. Because I lost all my friends, I have no more friends. They used to call me, hey, Don, want to go out? Come on, let's go to dinner, let's have fun. And they'd say, I have friends. She said, I have friends. No, but I lost all my friends. Because they used to be loose, right? To have friendship. Now they call up, hello, Mr. President, how are you? People I've known for 25 years. I never say 40 or 50, but I've known them for 40 or 50. I don't like saying that, though. It's too long. But I've known them for many years, and they were always so great. It's like fun. Hey, Don, let's go out. Let's have dinner. Let's do something. Let's have lunch. Now it's, Mr. President, sir, I think you're doing very well. I say, call me Donald. Okay, Donald. And then 2 minutes later, just call me Mr. President. He said, I can't. So that's respect for the office. It's actually a nice thing. But, you know, it's not like it used to be. It's much more boring. Judges who will uphold the Constitution. So one of these great friends came to me and he said, you know, this is the first person. He said, I'd like to be a judge. And I said, good, I love the idea. You're a great lawyer. What a great idea. I'll make him a judge. You know, I got all these, you know, because of President Obama, we have 142 slots. Never happened before. The most anyone's ever had is like one, maybe none. You never, that's like gold. That's gold, so important. You have 142. I said, how many slots do I have? They said, sir, you have 142. Never happened before. That's why we're setting all these records. Nobody's ever done this because of President Obama. I don't know what happened, but I had 142. I asked somebody, my first day, because you know they always say, they say, most important thing you have to do is judges and Supreme Court justices. So my first question, how many slots do we have? I thought it'd say one, none. I heard we had one in Alabama. How many slots do we have? 142. I said, you got to be kidding. So this guy comes up to me, great lawyer, says to me, I'd like to be a judge. I said, I love that idea. I think I can do that. I'm going to do it. So I went to my people. I said, I have a friend in New York. He's a fantastic lawyer. and he'd make a great judge. They said, "Sir, how old is he?" I said, "He's 69. I said, "You mean he wants to be a judge for 2 years and then maybe somebody else gets it?" "No, sir." And it took me about like 2 seconds to realize that doesn't work too well. We have judges that are very young. They'll be there for 40 years. Think of it. We have a judge in Texas. I don't know what we do, but we have a judge in Texas. I believe he's 38 years old. He went to Harvard. He was the top student. I believe he went to Oxford, something like that. And he's 38 years old. Going to be there for 50 years. That's what we want, right? Right? That's what we want. And that's what we're doing. Young, brilliant. And these are tremendously talented people. But we also put 2 incredible Supreme Court justices, Neil Gorsuch and Brett Kavanaugh, on the Supreme Court. I mean, some presidents have never had the opportunity to have a Supreme Court pick. I've already had 2. Oh, it's driving them crazy. May everybody lead a long and happy life. I will not get caught in this situation. This guy's he's a fan, but I tell you, he's gonna get me in big trouble. Nope. I want everybody to be healthy. Washington Democrats tried to destroy Brett Kavanaugh with a vicious campaign of smears and lies, but we refuse to cave into the left-wing mob. We refuse to do it. We've gotten a lot of credit for that. We've gotten a lot of credit for that. The extreme left in America is trying to replace religion with government and replace God with socialism. That's what's happening. And I see Alfred E. Newman comes out. He's trying to pretend he's very religious. Alfred E. Newman, you know who that is, right? Huh? Boot, edge, edge. You say boot, and then you go edge, edge. This is what, because nobody can pronounce his name, so they call him Mayor Pete. Mayor Pete. I'd like him to win, so I don't want to knock. You know, I don't want to knock these people. You knock him, maybe you'll end up with somebody good at top. That wouldn't be good. Now, Mayor Pete, I hope he does great. I hope he does great. Boot, edge, edge. And all of a sudden, he's become extremely religious. This happened about 2 weeks ago. These angry radicals want to impose absolute conformity by censoring speech, tearing down crosses and symbols of faith, and banning religious believers from public life. And that's what they want to do. They've gone crazy. But we will not back down. We are standing tall for the values that we hold dear, and everybody in this room feels the same way. We believe that every citizen has the right to live by the dictates of their conscience and the teaching of their faith. We believe in the right of freedom of speech, freedom of worship, freedom of religion, and we believe in right to life. Thank you. You remember during the debates when we had the question and we talked about abortion and Crooked Hillary, as she's affectionately known, and she is crooked. There's no doubt about that. But we were talking about abortion, and I made the statement. I said, ripped from the womb in the final month, and the whole place got it. Even people that didn't agree with us, they all got it. And it turned out to be a very important moment. And that was just something that happened. It came out. That was not something I thought about before. It just came out. It was an important moment. We know that families and churches, not Washington and bureaucrats, know best how to create strong and loving communities. Above all else, we know this. In America, we don't worship government, we worship God. Right? Right? But very sadly, since their loss in 2016, and you see this, it's like the craziest thing I've ever seen. If you remember during those debates, she said, he will not adhere to the results of the election. She's like lecturing me all the time. I sort of said I would, not that maybe I could have been stronger on it. I wouldn't have been happy with her, but I would have. That's the game. That's it. You got to. And she turned out to be the one that doesn't accept it. But all the time she was lecturing me, it was sort of incredible. And I said, I wonder what this is all about. But since their loss in 2016, the extreme left has not given up on their relentless crusade against Christians and Americans of all faith. They haven't. At every level of government, the intolerant left is on a campaign against religion. Look at the rules and regulations that we've taken off. Look at Mexico City. Mexico City. Did you ever think you'd see that? Mexico City. I don't think you ever thought you'd see that. Democrats in the House of Representatives have worked to remove the words, "So help me God," from the oath. Right? Now, how about that? So help me God. It's not going to happen, okay? It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. Not happening, not as long as I'm here. Now, somebody else, I guess I can't speak for them, but I'll tell you what, as long, they don't even try. Honestly, they hardly try because they know it's a waste of time. As long as I'm here, it's a waste of time. New York State recently passed a law that requires faith organizations to hire people who oppose their religious values. Weeks ago, the ACLU, that's a group of beauties, filed a lawsuit against the Tennessee County area, this beautiful area in Tennessee, I love Tennessee, for allowing prayer in schools and at football games. But we will not allow faithful Americans to be bullied by the hard left. We're not going to allow it. And we get involved with many of these cases, and nobody sees us coming, but we get involved. Very soon, I'll be taking action to safeguard students and teachers' First Amendment rights to pray in our schools. We're doing a big action. Attorney General Bill Barr. No, they want to take that right. Can you believe it? They want to take that right along with many other rights. On no issue have Democrats become more extreme than on the issue of life. You know that. Every single top Democratic candidate supports unlimited taxpayer-funded abortion right up until the moment of birth. But you go to Virginia, right? You know what I'm talking about. So you have a governor in Virginia. He was the one who pretended he was Michael Jackson. You remember? But nobody can moonwalk like Michael Jackson. Nobody. Nobody. And he wanted to try to show that he was really telling the truth. And his wife saved him. Not by much. But she said, don't do it. Don't do it. Because nobody can do that. Nobody but Michael. But you remember what he said, right? He said, you have the baby. Then you talk to the mother. And then you make a determination, essentially, on whether or not to execute the baby. This wasn't in the last month. This is after the baby is born, you make a determination. And I can tell you, speaking for myself, I had never heard of that. Some of you probably have, but I have never known that that existed. But it actually exists. And he said it very strongly, the governor, the sitting governor right now of Virginia. By the way, if he were a Republican, he would have been out of office 9 months ago. Would have been out 9 months ago. What he said, what he did. Today's Democrat Party has spent pro-life voters. I mean, you've sent them into exile. And we in the Republican Party proudly welcome these voters with wide open arms, and we have many of them coming. Stand up. That's my friend. Stand up. Stand up. Thank you. It's great. That's great. So many people are joining the Republican Party, and it's a different party. It's becoming a party of the workers. It's becoming a party of minorities, African American, Hispanic, Asians. Very different party. Republicans believe that every child, born and unborn, is made in the holy image of God. And that's why I asked Congress to prohibit late-term abortion. And as I said, during my first week in office, I reinstated the Mexico City policy. Not everybody knows what that is, but I can tell you, the people sitting in these rows right here, they know what it is, and they can't believe it happened because others didn't do that. I guess Ronald Reagan did, but even to a lesser extent. So we're very honored to have done it. We have issued a final rule to prohibit Title X taxpayer funding from subsidizing the abortion industry. We stopped the federal funding of fetal tissue research, which everybody felt so important, which was a big question mark for years. We're standing up to the pro-abortion lobby like never before. We will never shy away from the battle to protect innocent life. We're also defending the free speech rights of Christians on college campuses. Here with us today is Bernadette Tassi and Jessica Riojas from California State University. Have a very interesting story to tell. Please, young ladies, please come up.
Thank you, Mr. President. A few years ago, I started a Students for Life group at Fresno State University in California. At the end of our first year, we organized a chalking event where we got permission from our university to chalk pro-life messages all across the campus. And that's right. But as we finished up that day, a professor came up to me and said that he'd be coming back to erase those messages. And he did, and he brought students from his classroom to help him. And when I asked him why he was erasing those messages, he said that it was his free speech to censor us, and that college campuses are not free speech areas. Well, we filed a lawsuit against him, and we won. And this allowed us to help us continue to spread a message that might never be heard on a public college campus, the pro-life message. And because of our right to religious liberty and to free speech on college campuses, we were able to help one woman courageously choose life over abortion, who is now here with me today. Thanks be to God, we can continue to speak freely on our college campus and spread the pro-life message. And thanks be to God for this administration who has shown so much support to protect our First Amendment. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. So protecting students' free speech rights can help save lives. I know from experience, it helped save my daughter and save me from an unimaginable loss and grief. A few years ago, I didn't take a side on abortion issue. While attending Fresno State, I passed by a Students for Life booth on campus. The students were passing out 12-week fetal development models, so I took it and kept it in my car. Then a couple months afterwards, I found out I was having an unplanned pregnancy. I felt alone, scared, and unsure about my future as a college student. I talked to a Planned Parenthood counselor who attempted to persuade me to have an abortion. However, I remember looking at my fetal development model throughout that time period, helping me to humanize the baby I was carrying. I decided to keep my baby. I thank God for my daughter Eden, who is now 2 years old. Thank you. And is the joy of my life. I am now actively pro-life and co-vice president of Students for Life at Fresno State, helping other students choose life and feel supported in their education. I am pursuing my graduate degree and want all pregnant and parenting students to know that they can be successful too.
Fantastic. Thank you. Yeah, great story. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Fantastic. Wow. Well, that's a great story. Thank you very much. To safeguard the rights of students like Bernadette and Jessica, I've issued a historic executive order stating that if colleges and universities don't protect free speech, they will lose billions and billions of dollars currently funded by the federal government. And I see Charlie Kirk is in the audience. I think that's made a big difference, Charlie Kirk, hasn't it, huh? Made a big difference. It's amazing how those colleges say, welcome, Charlie, we'd love to have you. They're much more friendly, right? That's great. Every day, our pro-faith, pro-family, and pro-American agenda is restoring hope and opportunity to Americans of every race, religion, color, and creed. We have created 7 million new jobs since the election, including more than 600,000 jobs right here in the state of Florida. You have a great governor, by the way, Ron DeSantis. Great governor. If I ever said 7 million jobs during the campaign, the projection was 2 million at most. And we did 7. They would not have allowed us to get away with it, but we would have said it anyway if we believed it. African American, Hispanic American, and Asian American unemployment have reached their lowest rates in the history of our country. We've lifted more than 500,000 African American and Hispanic American children out of poverty. There's never been a number even close. And after years of stagnation, wages are rising fast. You see it all the time. They're rising fast, twice as fast for low-income workers. Nobody thought that was ever going to happen or to think it was even possible. Think of that. Thanks to our child tax credit, last year 40 million families received an average benefit of over $2,200. And with the help of many faith leaders here today, we took groundbreaking action to give former prisoners a second chance. Criminal justice reform. Criminal justice reform. And the Democrats couldn't get it done. Obama, I don't think President Obama even tried, but they couldn't get it done. And people came to my office. They came to a very special office called the Oval Office, and they said, we'd love to have your support. We had tremendous conservative support. We just had support from the conservatives, that was great, but also from the liberals. Now we get it passed. And I see one of the people up there making a speech, this is 6 months later, of how they got criminal justice reform. I got it. Nobody else. I got it. I got senators that really weren't so inclined to go there. He said, do me a favor. Anyway, I got it done. And I see these guys making speeches, thanking people that I never even heard of for the great job they did. The only one who they didn't thank was me, but that's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. Sure. They didn't thank me, but that's okay. They said thank you to people that I know very well that had nothing to do with it, but that's okay. And they feel guilty about it, but not guilty enough to correct. But you have to remember these things. Seriously, you do. You have to remember. Very, very terrible, because it's so easy to say thank you. And when they do that, you want to do more and more. But we did criminal justice reform. We did. The Republicans did it. And the Republicans now are getting credit for it. I was honored to become the first president to convene a meeting at the United Nations to end religious persecution. It was the first time. Tremendous problem throughout the world. In recent months, the world has witnessed devastating acts of violence inflicted upon sacred places of worship. You've seen that. And what's happening to Christians in parts of the world is unbelievable and unthinkable, and we're not putting up with it. We're not going to put up with it. We're not putting up with it. Taking very strong action. You know the stories, you know them well, and it's terrible. Not even believable, not even thinkable. A few days ago, a murderer opened fire during service at a church near Fort Worth, Texas. Our prayers are with the families of the victims and the congregation. We're grateful that the shooting was over in 6 seconds. You know why? Because we had somebody that had a gun going in the other direction. You had 242 people, worshipers, they were praying, and this maniac walked in and started shooting. But yet a man had a gun, he knew how to use it. And in a very short period of time, that was the end, but 2 people died. But you had 242 people, they would have perhaps all been dead, every one of them. And then these people talk about guns and gun safety and gun rights, and honestly, they don't really know what they're talking about. But many lives were saved by these heroes, and Texas laws allowing them to exercise their Second Amendment right to bear arms. And your Second Amendment is under siege. But I guess that's why they don't love me. Look, there's so many reasons they don't like me. This is one of many. But as long as I'm here, and I'm going to be here for a long time, your Second Amendment is protected. Your Second Amendment is protected. Hours before, in the suburbs of New York City, an evil and sadistic man brutally stabbed Jewish Americans at a rabbi's home during their Hanukkah services. Everyone here today stands in unwavering solidarity with our Jewish brothers and sisters. And together, all of us, we're going to eradicate the sinister scourge of anti-Semitism. And we will protect Jewish communities and all members of the Jewish faith from the wicked forces of hatred and violence. And you know that, and the love by evangelicals, Christians, for Jewish people and for Israel is incredible. It's incredible. We will not rest until the horrible and vile ideology of anti-Semitism has been defeated and destroyed. For this reason, I recently signed an executive order to restrict federal funding to any college or university that spreads, supports, or promotes anti-Semitic prejudice in any form. And the support from the Christian community, the evangelical community, has been incredible, because my administration has also taken historic action to support and cherish our friend and ally, the State of Israel. And Israel's now going through the roughest election I have ever seen. What's going on with the election? But we recognize things that I honestly believe, I think that the Christian community perhaps was equally thrilled with what we did. I recognized the eternal capital of Israel and opened the American embassy in Jerusalem. And we recognized Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. The Golan Heights has been talked about for 54 years now. Nobody did it. I did it. I got that one done too. Pastor Jeffers can tell you I'm good at getting things done. I may not be perfect, but I get things done, right? Right, Robert? We get things done, and they're good things. Unfortunately, there is a growing left-wing movement that seeks to target and punish the state of Israel and its Jewish citizens. This includes the anti-Semitic BDS movement, or boycott, divestment, and sanction. It's a disaster. And we have people in Congress, I don't know where they come from. 5 years ago, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, this was unthinkable, what's happening in Congress. But these people hate Israel. They hate Jewish people. I won't name them. I won't bring up the name of Omar, Talib, AOC. I won't bring that name up. Won't bring it up. I will not bring it up. But where do these people come from? 10 years ago, if you think back, there was a great love, and today it's the opposite. But I've made clear that my administration strongly and forcefully condemns this dangerous campaign to inflict pain and turmoil on the state of Israel. To keep Americans safe at home, we have installed the toughest ever vetting and visa screening procedures to ensure that foreign terrorists cannot gain admission or entry into our country. It's getting very hard for them to do it. And we are right now building a very big, very powerful, very strong, very high wall. And it's going up. Close to 100 miles have already been built. You know, we did two things. The wall is always people, and you think it was easy getting that wall? You think that was easy? I had a Democrat Party that'd give me anything. If I want money for anything, I can have it except for the wall. I could have money for anything. They'd tell me, you can have money for anything, just not the wall. And I got the money. And we'll be up right now. I think we're probably over, but we're giving out contract after contract. We're over 100 miles of wall. We'll be, hopefully, by the end of next year, to about 400, maybe even more than that, miles. And we need to be at 500, and we'll have it secured very shortly after. It's an incredible thing that we're doing, and it works. And you see the numbers are incredible. And by the way, our laws are so bad. The Democrats could change. They're called loopholes. I mean, what's a worse name than a loophole? They're loopholes, right? We have lottery. Put your name in a hat, lottery. Do you think that their governments put their best people in the lottery? No, they don't put their best people. Common sense. And catch and release, all of this stuff, loopholes. We could end it so easily, but we don't end it. But we don't need it anymore. What we are done, you know, Mexico did us a little favor. Of course, it helped when I said, if you don't do it, we're going to charge you tariffs. Look, I say that very low. No, Mexico did us a very good favor. We right now have 27,000 Mexican soldiers on our southern border, and they're guarding our border from people coming in to our country at no cost. So I want to thank the president of Mexico. He's a good man. He has not got an easy job either, I will tell you. But we have 27,000, Paula. 27,000, think of that. It's a 2,000-mile border. We have natural, you know, we have, when you hear 500 miles of wall, but we have rivers and mountains. We have a lot of natural, let's call them very beautiful walls, very big walls. But we have 27,000 Mexican soldiers, and I want to thank the president of Mexico. It's been incredible what's happened. In the Western Hemisphere, we're confronting the nightmare of communism and socialism. That's what's happening. The Western Hemisphere is a little bit different place, but things are happening. And we're supporting the people of Cuba, Nicaragua, and Venezuela in their righteous struggle for freedom. We're going to win that. We're going to win. We're going to win all three of them. We're going to win all three of them. Tell your friends, we're going to win all three. In fact, 2 years ago, they gave me the Bay of Pigs Award, Cuba. They gave me the Bay of Pigs Award, meaning people formerly from Cuba in Miami. And that was a big thing. And we had tremendous support from those countries, I will tell you. We're going to straighten that out. We resolve again today that America will never be a socialist country, ever. America was not built by religion-hating socialists. America was built by church-going, God-worshiping, freedom-loving patriots. On the 4th of July, I introduced America to an outstanding citizen of faith, Angel Belcher, who is here with us today. And by the way, 4th of July, how good was that ceremony? We're going to do it again and again. They said the tanks are too heavy for the streets. I said, okay, let's use airplanes. That's okay. They're not too heavy. And we had a crowd that was unbelievable at the mall, right? The Lincoln Memorial. It was an incredible day. We're doing it again. We're going to do it for many years into the future. That was an incredible day. And that place was packed. It's where Martin Luther King made his great speech. And if you look at the crowds, take a picture. Look at the crowds. It hadn't changed physically at all. Look at the crowds, look at the crowds. So it's about the same crowd. It was about the same crowd. It was an incredible crowd of people, and everybody loved it, and it was pouring. And I had no speech because this speech was all wet. The teleprompters went down, and I was stuck, just me and hundreds of thousands of people. And we did just fine. We did just fine. It was pouring. And they realized that day that my hair was real, because if it wasn't, I would have had big problems. If it wasn't, I would have had big, big problems that day, that 4th of July. It was pouring and windy. It was miserable. I said, God, why did you do this to me? I wanted to give everybody such a nice show. We had a great show. Because that rain didn't bother those planes going over us at 1,500 miles an hour. That's because they were going slowly at that point. But I recognize Angel's incredible work, helping thousands of families devastated by Hurricane Michael. But that was only part of Angel's stories. For 30 years, Angel has been an evangelist. And she was one of the great evangelists of any time. People love her work. They just love her. They love her work. She works for her church and tirelessly served her community on a place that I love, the Florida Panhandle. That was during the election. It was very close, but they hadn't done the Panhandle. We got to the Panhandle, and I'll tell you what, we just blew Florida away. It was over, right? The Panhandle. She is fantastic. But she delivered homemade meals to the elderly. She was all over the place. She finds furniture to give to those with nothing, absolutely nothing. And she preaches. Over the years, she and her husband have provided food, shelter, and care for more than 170 children who needed a loving home. She took them in. And after Angel came to the White House, Franklin and Sissy Graham's terrific organization, and it is Samaritan's Purse, it's incredible, learned that Angel's own house had been badly damaged by Hurricane Michael. A team of over 100 volunteers went to Chipley, Florida. Thanks to their efforts, Angel just moved into a totally remodeled, really beautiful house. And what I'd like to do is, Angel, would you and Sissy Graham Lynch come up and say a few words, please? Come on. And I think, by the way, Sissy should be an evangelist because she has been, she's a very inspiring speaker. Her grandfather was Billy Graham. Her father is Franklin Graham. And if you believe in genes, you got to go with those genes. You can't get any better. Please. Come on.
Jesus commands us to love thy neighbor. And when you go around the world and you go around this country and you visit people in moments of hopelessness and despair, you see Americans rise to the occasion to love one another, to serve one another. Even if you don't know them, even if you don't agree with them, they love. And Miss Angel has set that example beautiful to all of us of loving thy neighbor and taking people into our own home. And she's going to share a little bit about her story. But Mr. President, although you're in a very beautiful, elegant White House, you are our neighbor. And we will love you through this, and we will help you for 2020 so you can keep fighting for us because you are our neighbor and we love you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Evangelist Angel, and tonight I'd like to share a little bit about the president, a side that you guys probably don't even know about. I met him back in July 2019, and when I was getting ready to leave, his Missy and Brittany had gotten with him, and they got in touch with Samaritan Purse. And when I got back, I had a surprise waiting on me. 2 or 3 days later, a team of 50 people showed up, and they started moving stuff. But what really got me was people were telling me that, since you met the president, when you leave Washington, things are going to be different. He's not going to, he's not going to be there for you. He's not going to be your friend. But I beg to differ. Every time I call Washington, D.C., they're right there for me. When I got my house done, he sent me a package, a beautiful wall painting. He was right there for me. And within usually about 2 to 3 days out of the month, I'll hear from the White House. How are you doing, evangelist? Do you need anything? How's things going? And you know what I tell people? I was like, don't judge the book by its cover because it's not what you think it is. And then what I don't like is for someone to tell me what I can do, who I can vote for. I was taught growing up that you get a piece of paper and they'll put down who you're supposed to vote for. And for a long time, I thought that this is the way life was, that you take this piece of paper and you go into this booth and you vote for the name that was given to you that was written down. But as I got more knowledge, as I got more older, and I got more wiser, I realized that that's not how you vote. I pray for my president every day. The Bible says that we're supposed to pray for our leaders. We're not supposed to, just because a person may have everybody's going to get along, which I done found that out. And I'm the type of person where I'm always trying to say, hey, we need to make the world better. We need to try and stop the fighting. We need to stop the bickering. We need to get along. But I have found out not everybody's going to get along. You can try, you can pray, you can speak, but I can tell you this. God told me to pray for my president, and I'm going to continue praying for my president. I'm going to continue standing for my president because my president is there for me. There has been lots of days where I feel down and depressed because I've lost my mother and my father. And it's a lot of times where I wish that they could be there where I can have encouraging words and someone to talk to. And it's a lot of things that, I found out that no matter whether you're up high or you're down low, you have to watch who you talk to. And especially sometimes I'm finding that when I was in July and the president was on stage, my phone went off. And it says, President Trump has just did this. And I'm looking over like, the man's standing right there. Oh, okay. So that's when I started saying, don't go by what people tell you. Don't go by what you're hearing. Go by what you see. Okay? So we're walking, we're leaving from that, and we're going to get on the bus. And there, my phone goes off again. The president has just done this. And I'm looking, the president's over there getting in his car. And I was like, I'm going to start, not only am I going to pray for the president, but I'm going to pray for every one of you reporters, every one of you guys that's trying to rise up against him, every one of you that's out here lying and doing and saying things that's not of God. I'm going to pray for you that God touch you and that he cease your tongue and your mouth. Because it is not of God that we go around lying and making up stuff that's not happening. So if you're going to do something, make sure that you do it right. Make sure you say that which is right. It's very sad that our word is coming to this. It's very sad. And I'm trying to teach my son what's right. And one of the main mottos that I use at my house is that, share it with you. I brought this for the president today. My mom used to tell me, before she left, she said, I'm not going to be here always to take care of you. And there's a time where your little self is going to have to stand up. I got on heels, so I'm only 4'10". But I tell you what, you want to fight? I'll fight. Okay? You have to learn how to stand up, be strong, and fight. And that's what I'm learning to do. No one can hand me a piece of paper anymore and tell me who to vote for. No one can tell me what to do anymore. I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to vote for who I want to vote for. I'm going to make a stand. I will never give up. And as for the president, I want him to stand strong. I want him to keep moving, regardless of what the outcome look like, regardless of what's going on around him. I want him to be strong. I want him to stand. When it look like things are going to fall down, stand. When it look like you can't take anymore, stand. Look to the hills for where your help's coming. It comes from Jesus Christ. It don't come from man. Because man will let you down. It comes from the Lord. From the Lord. That's where our health and strength come from. And that goes for every one of you. Stand. I'm going to get down from here because I'll be going all day long. But I will like to say this. I would like to say a special thank you to the president, a special thank you to Missy, and I'd like to say thank you to Franklin Graham, and most of all, Billy Graham. when I would not be here today. I would not be an evangelist. I don't believe if my mom, back then when I was coming up, you only got a couple channels on the TV. And you had a choice. You either gonna sit there and watch Billy Graham or you going to bed. So I watched a whole lot of Billy Graham. And so one of the things that I learned from Billy Graham is love. We have to love one another. We have to. That's the key. That's what God is putting in every one of us. That's what he wants us to do. He wants us to love, not hate. He didn't say that we had to get along with them, but we got to love them. And we got to pray for them. And like I said, I definitely really want to thank Franklin Graham and Billy Graham, and especially Billy Graham. I know he's in heaven, and he's probably rejoicing right now saying, hey, another soul saved by me. Because that was one awesome man. One awesome man. But I thank God for my husband, Andre. Like I said, it's very hard when you don't have that security piece to lean on. And, you know, a lot of people look at me and say, you're a strong person, you don't need nobody. But there's that time when you do need somebody to help you stand. And my husband has been right there. And I know, you heard a lot of stuff that, you guys shouldn't be going down there. You shouldn't be with Donald Trump. You're supposed to be with your party. What party? The only party I got is Jesus' party, okay? President Trump, I would like to give this to you, and I want you to know, never give up. Keep standing. God bless you.
That was great. Thank you very much, both. Thank you very much. I like this. This is pretty nice, I have to tell you. Never give up. I better remember that. Never give up. I never give up. We'll never give up. Now we have a lot of work to do. My administration will never stop fighting for Americans of faith. Nearly 2.5, thank you very much, and I love you. Who said that? Stand up, please. Get up. Thank you. But nearly 2.5 centuries ago, the movement for independence began in the pulpits of American churches. People don't know that. They don't want to know that in many cases, but that's the way it was. The movements to abolish slavery and secure civil rights started in the churches. Today, in churches all across our land, believers are defending our God-given freedoms. We need every single person here today to talk to your families and talk to your neighbors and share our message of national renewal. We need each and every one of you to help encourage every single church member to go out right now and register to vote. That's a big, big deal. Today I ask to help us achieve an all-time record for registering church members in 2020. We have the record now. We're going to break it again. We got a tremendous vote, tremendous, the biggest ever, and we also had the biggest percentage ever, 84%. We got to do better than that. I want to know, who are the 16%? What are they all about? Who are the 16%? Together, we're more powerful than the opponents of faith and freedom could ever imagine. Every single day for the next 10 months, we will keep on working, we will keep on praying, and we will keep on driving to victory, victory, victory. On November 3rd, 2020, we will get out and vote to protect our rights and to protect our beliefs and to protect our children, and we will vote to make America great again. Thank you very much. With millions upon millions of evangelical voters, Christian voters, and voters of every faith, we will preserve our heritage. We will defend our liberty. We will reclaim our destiny. We will strengthen our families. We will build up our communities. We will restore the role of faith and true foundation of American life. And we will ensure that our country forever and always remains one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. Thank you. God bless you. And God bless America. Thank you. This was a great honor. Thank you.